This is LibreQuest. My name is Matt. It is the 26th of October, 2019. The first article today is going to be Xtix 1910. The Ultimate Linux system is now based on Ubuntu 1910 and runs LXQT. This was posted on the 24th of October by Marius Nestor at news.softpedia.com. GNU/Linux developer Arne Exton released a new version of his Xtix Linux distribution based on Canonical's recently released Ubuntu 1910 Eon Ermine operating system. Dubbed by the developer as the Ultimate Linux System, Xtix 1910 is based on Ubuntu 1910, but ships with the lightweight LXQT desktop environment instead of GNOME to allow users to use it on their UEFI-enabled computers. Xtix 1910 is using the latest LXQT 0.14.1 desktop environment by default. And I'll post the rest of that article, and if you want, you can check it out over on Softpedia News. The next one is from Linux Insider. This one is written by Jack M. Germain. This was posted on the 25th of October. Dragora Linux is anything but simple. Dragora is a fledgling Linux distribution that neither works out of the box nor is user-friendly. That said, if you have an adventurous interest in practically starting from scratch and somewhat building your own computing platform, Dragora could be an interesting side project to learn how a distribution works on the inside. Brace yourself for a long measure of frustration, especially if you are not already familiar with how the Linux operating system works. The Argentina-based developer, Matthias Fonzo, offers very little documentation. An online wiki file provides little help thanks to its heavy dose of technical terminology. So, I don't know. That sounds like it might actually be a good distribution if you've never used Linux. In my opinion, I don't know. At least that's my experience. Starting with something that's more difficult, and then really learning the system, and then moving to something that just works because you actually want to get stuff done. That's kind of how it's gone for me. It's like starting with the difficult stuff, and then after that, it's like, well, I actually want to get some things done. So I'm gonna go with what's most noob friendly because I know it's just gonna work. At least that's my perspective. Okay, so the historical article, or we can call it an article, I guess. The historical article for today is from geeknews.org. It's this was posted October 26, 1999, by Mike. Just one name. It was posted by Mike. So I couldn't find the original story because I guess the domain is no longer in operation. But there was an excerpt, and I thought I'd read that. Today, this review deals with the new release of Red Hat 6.1. I obtained my copy by downloading an ISO image of it. Okay, I guess he had a T1. That's awesome. The ISO images are all available from ftp.redhat.com. I'm having trouble talking for some reason. I apologize. Or one of several mirror sites. The goal of this review is to examine the install process for this new OS and give us users some insight as to what an install of Red Hat 6.1 has in store for them. Overall, I was happy with the new updates to Red Hat in their 6.1 release. I certainly have no qualms against making things easier for newbie and veteran alike. I would say they've moved their distribution easily into the reach of most users, both home and corporate. I did not really care for the new GUI installer, but it will make people used to installing Windows feel more at home. So that is cool. Reviewing Red Hat 6.1. That was an exciting time. And of course, I was a Mandrake user, and not until 7.2, and that was based on Red Hat at that time. So it would have been Mandrake 6.2 that I would have been using. Okay, so today on this show, I did bring the show in with a track from Nathan Hale, and I'm going to play the entirety of that track at the end of the show. And thanks again, Nathan, for letting me use your music on the podcast. I think that's pretty cool. Thank you, Nathan, for that. So today I wanted to go over, I was thinking about this. I've thought about this a lot, and I thought, it'd be interesting to do a comparison between what is being listed on the top of distrowatch.com and comparing that with Google Trends. Now, for a very long time, my distribution of choice was Mandriva, and it was pretty much number one over at distrowatch.com for many, many years. And you know, I was like, that's cool, you know, that it's at #1, but I thought, I wonder how that compares to Google Trends. Now, Mandriva wasn't around until 2005, after I believe they acquired Connectiva, and they changed it from Mandrake to Mandriva at that point, after that acquisition. Or it might have been a merger, I'm not really sure. But anyhow, you know, I was a user. I wasn't really into the whole business side of things at that time when that happened, so I don't honestly know. I guess I could look it up. Maybe I should have. I probably should have done that. But anyhow, you know, prior to that, I think the last release of Mandrake was 2005 LE, and that was one of my favorites, actually. I thought that was really good. I also thought 2012.2 was amazing. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. So, yeah, I want to do a comparison of what's on distrowatch.com and how that compares to Google Trends. And I'm just going to read the list off here. On distrowatch.com, on the right-hand side of the page, there is a page hit ranking. #1 is MX Linux. #2 is Manjaro. #3 is Linux Mint. #4 is Debian. And #5 is Ubuntu. So let's go over to Google Trends. So if you go to Google Trends, you can check how search queries are trending. And it's very useful because it goes, it gives you a lot of demographics, where the traffic's coming from, and you know, down to the state, exactly where these searches are coming from. So I'm going to type in here on Google Trends, MX Linux. And then I'm going to bring up a comparison. I'm going to make it for the past, let's see, over on distrowatch.com, this is for the last 6 months. So we're going to make that 12 months. And let me check the list again, because now it's changed. Okay. So it's going to be MX Linux, Manjaro, Mint, Elementary, and Ubuntu. Okay, so that's their 12 months hits. So let's compare that over here on Google Trends for the past 12 months. So the next one I'm going to add in is Manjaro. So this is on trends.google.com. I searched for MX Linux, and now I'm going to compare that with Manjaro. All right. So the next one on the list for the past 12 months on DistroWatch is Mint. So I'm not going to put Mint because that's a very general term. I'm going to put Linux Mint for that search. And the next one is going to be Elementary. So that one as well. I'm going to put Elementary OS for that search term, because that's hopefully going to be what people are searching for, not Elementary, because that's a general term as well. The next one is Ubuntu, and that's pretty, it's mostly unique. I do believe it's a Zulu word as well. I think it was Zulu, I'm not really sure. They used to ship it with Nelson Mandela. It was Nelson Mandela on the video, and he explained what Ubuntu means. So it's like it means a lot of things, but that was a good video. That's why the Mandela effect thing always kind of confused me, because I was like, no, Ubuntu used to ship with the Mandela video. I knew it wasn't dead. Okay, so anyhow, let's look at this comparison here. Okay, so again, distrowatch.com has a #1 MX Linux, #2 is Manjaro, #3 is Mint, 4 Elementary, and 5 is Ubuntu. Now let's look at Google Trends. Okay, so going back to 2018, October says 28. Okay, so we have MX Linux is not even there. Manjaro is #2. Linux Mint is 7. Elementary is 1. Okay, Ubuntu 100. Okay, so that's the baseline there. All right, so it looks like, man, it's pretty consistent. Yeah, all the way through. It doesn't really change. So it's going to be Ubuntu pretty much is the king here. Ubuntu is king. Want Ubuntu to rule them all, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. Ubuntu is at least leading everything else by 90 to, goodness, around 70, 78 to at least 90 points. Everything else, and then second place, I guess, would be Manjaro. Okay, and then no, I'm sorry, it's going to be Linux Mint, then Manjaro, then Elementary, and then MX Linux. So almost the reverse of what distrowatch.com has. Okay, I don't know. That's interesting. Just thought I would look that up. So, no, I know that those kind of systems, and if you're a web developer, you can develop your website to do very simple reporting on your web traffic as far as numbers goes. But if you're really looking to monetize or market on that traffic, then you'll definitely want to be tracking unique IPs and demographics and that sort of thing. So I kind of wish that the numbers on DistroWatch would be more public, at least the demographics and all that sort of thing. Because yeah, those numbers were pretty much I don't know. Ubuntu was just way ahead of everybody else on there. So oh, and I wanted to mention, I do the raffle thing. The raffle item for until the end of next week is going to be Tomb Raider Chronicles, and the raffle works like this: you join over on Subscribestar. It's $1 a month, and then I raffle off an item that I've looked at. Now I looked at this on episode 15, I think, and it's Tomb Raider Chronicles. Came out in the year 2000, released by Eidos. It is the default controls, and I have to mention this: the default controls on this game are the keyboard. So you definitely want to use a gamepad if you're going to play this game, and whether or not you want to do the raffle or not. And you might be saying, why would I want this? I have no idea. I don't know why you would want this. But I think these things are cool. I think like old games and stuff are cool. So I thought, I'll do a raffle and give that stuff away. Now, as of yet, I think I have one person on Subscribestar. But if that ever gets to like more than one, if it gets into like 100, let's say, or something like that, then I've actually got to decide because I started a Patreon. I started a Patreon and I started a Subscribestar, and I know that I want to use one of those accounts, depending on how those go. I want to use one of them to, of course, increase quality of the podcast, especially over on the video side of things, because I've had some issues with the video stuff, and I've talked about that in the past, but and I haven't exactly resolved all of them yet, but I'm working on it. Yeah, I want to use one of those accounts to help fund some projects that I have used for years, or communities that I've been a part of for years that I've not been able to contribute that much to. But anyway, that's just kind of a bit off topic there. But that's what the raffle is. It's you sign up for $1 a month, and then I'll raffle off some things I find interesting. So actually, today I did have a chance to do a little bit of work on the OS2 box. It's been sitting up on the shelf behind me since I started the show, but I wanted to do like just a kind of a review of unboxing that and stuff. So I'm going to do that here pretty soon. Been working on that, and it's looking more like I might have to actually invest in some of the original IBM hardware to actually test that. But there's definitely good news. There's going to be good news involved with that when I do get to do that episode. So I've been thinking about moving to a new month. I'm going to be moving to a new month, which is November, coming up here very soon. I just started the podcast, so it's very new. And I was thinking about what is this podcast as it is today? What is it most appropriate for? And it's to me it's like they're usually pretty short, 10 to 20 minutes at the most, that I have time to do, and that is due to some time restrictions that I have. I wouldn't have a problem with doing a longer podcast, but that's just not possible for me to do. But I would think that this podcast would be appropriate for maybe you're getting ready for work in the morning. You just want to hear something real quick, and maybe hear a little news and something technical related. You don't want to spend a lot of time listening to or whatever. This show could fill that time to listen to. So useful in some ways, I guess. But it's also they're not too long. I wouldn't have a problem with moving to a longer format if I could. That would be acceptable to me. But I was thinking, these are very short episodes that I put out for a podcast. Now, I enjoy short podcasts, sure, but I also enjoy a long format podcast. So I'm thinking moving, when I move into a new month on this show, I think I'm going to take all of the episodes that I've done and compile them into a single episode and I'm not sure what I'm going to call it, but it'll just be a compilation. Well, not really a compilation. It will be a compilation, I guess, but it'll be all the podcasts that I've done for that month, all rolled into one. And if it gets to be excessively long, then I'll probably do it every 2 weeks and do like a 2-week compilation, so you can listen to every episode back to back, and that way you're not listening to the shorter episodes individually, because I do like the long format. If I'm working, I'll listen to podcasts, and I enjoy the long format podcast personally. So I also enjoy shorter podcasts, but I think I'm going to do that moving into November. I'm going to compile all of the episodes, including this one, and just release them as one long format podcast. Now, if it's I haven't done the calculation on how much time that's going to be. If it's excessive, like I don't know what excessive would be. Maybe anything over 3 hours. I wouldn't expect it would be over 3 hours, but if it is, I might have to break that up into 2 parts, I would think, because that's a bit much. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to let you know I'm going to be doing that going forward. So, and I can't think of if I had anything else to really talk about today. I really just wanted to do the look into the distro watch statistics and compare that with Google Trends. And of course, with the way that Google is made, it is all their trends and stuff are based on search. And so, yeah, that can be gamed. And yeah, I've always had that practice, honestly. When I launch a website, of course, I haven't actually done it with the podcast, but I haven't had time either. But in the past, if I would launch a website, I would want that to be the first result. So every chance I'd get, if I was on a friend's computer or something, I'd just Google and click on it, because that's how the search engine worked. And it was it was easier back then. And there's actually companies dedicated to doing that. And it's not I don't think it's unethical or anything, because if you want an accurate search result, especially if you're specialized in something or whatever, then you want to be able to help the search engine sort through a lot of stuff that's not relevant to what the specific search would be for whatever you're hosting or whatever you're providing. So I don't know if there's any gaming going on with Distro Watch or with Google, but there might be. I have no idea, honestly. But it's just weird that the results don't really match up. So I would love to see the little more information on the metrics and the demographics behind Distro Watch, what's going on with that. But Google does a very thorough job of explaining those things, and it very helpful information as well. It's a very good tool, Google Trends. So I think that's going to do it for today, and I'm going to go ahead and play the entirety of the track from Nathan Hale. Let me go ahead and get that started here. There we go. And this track is called Waves from the Radio, from his project Carport Ensemble. Thank you for listening today.